Hello, everyone. I'm the last speaker of today. So thank you so much for still being here, and I hope you become as fascinated to this topic as I became in the last few years and preparing also this presentation. So I don't know how much of you came across this Instagram account of the Buddhist monk who has gathered more than 2 million followers. The teachings are calm, reflective, spiritually grounded, and yet the monk does not exist. He is entirely generated by artificial intelligence. This is an example of the level of technological mediation we've reached. Technology is occupying spaces we consider sacred and human. And for me, this raises a fundamental question about trust. In a world where millions of people follow the teachings of someone who does not exist, how do we cultivate trust? In human relationships more broadly, but more specifically within our religious communities and among our different faith traditions. We cannot pretend that the relationship between religion and technology is something new. It's not. It is historical and has been ongoing, from oral tradition to writing, from manuscripts to printing presses, from radio and television to the internet and social media. Each new technology has sparked debates, fears, and processes of adaptation. The issue here is not whether technology and religion will interact. They already do. There are numerous apps that assist believers in prayers and devotional practices. Maybe you also use one of those. In Warsaw, for example, a Catholic robot called Santo interacts with the faithful, answering questions and offering spiritual guidance. In Japan, at a Buddhist temple in Kyoto, a robot named Mindar delivers sermons to visitors. At the same time, AI-based chat systems trained on sacred texts, either Buddhist or Islamic, Christian, Hindu, Jewish, respond to theological questions, reproducing teachings and offering interpretations through conversational interfaces. This way, artificial intelligence is becoming a mediator of religious authority, interpretation, and we could even maybe say spiritual experience. But mediation is never neutral. It shapes what is transmitted, how this message can be interpreted, and who is recognized as a legitimate voice. So where are the women? Here, it's important to add the gender element. Historically, and we saw also in the other panels, women had had limited space in the development of governance of technology, but also informal interfaith dialogue spaces. While women carry much of the daily work of religious communities, sustaining local networks, being educators, caregivers, and grassroots advocates, religious leadership has, in most traditions, been predominantly male. Interfaith dialogue, too, has traditionally been structured around encounters between official leaders, who have largely been men. Of course, this imbalance is not unique to technology or to religion. In the graphic, you can see the percentage of women working in AI right now. It reflects a broader patriarchal social structure that have shaped access to authority, knowledge production, and decision-making power across society. The widely known AI gender bias also intersects with the religious and cultural bias. Training datasets are predominantly Western and heavily influenced by Christian references. As a result, AI systems often demonstrate lower accuracy when processing content related to non-Western religious traditions. Studies have shown, for example, that terms associated with Islam are disproportionately classified with negative sentiment, while Christian texts appear far more frequently in training data than Buddhist, Hindu, or indigenous traditions. In this sense, AI amplify biases and systematize the inequalities already embedded in our societies. When religious bias intersects with gender bias, women from minority faith communities risk becoming doubly invisible, both within technological system and within formal interfaith representation. If artificial intelligence continues to increasingly mediate religious knowledge, authority, and interpretation, then the exclusion of women from shaping these systems is not a simply matter of representation. It becomes a critical ethical concern about whose voices define the spiritual and technological future we are building. Across different sectors, there is a growing recognition that AI must be guided by principles that protect human dignity, inclusion, justice, and accountability. Initiatives such as the research work developed under Artificial Intelligence for Social Good, or, as Doa mentioned, UNESCO's 2021 recommendation on the ethics of artificial intelligence, and, of course, the commitment that Venerable mentioned to the Roma Call, all these initiatives articulate from their respective institutional and moral frameworks the need to confront bias. They all converge around a shared concern. Technology must serve humanity, not deepen existing inequalities, as Pope Francis stated in the message for the World Day of Peace in 2024. Building on this shared ethical horizon, interfaith dialogue and cooperation have a specifically and timely role to play. I would like to suggest 3 concrete ways in which interfaith dialogue can contribute to AI for the common good. First one, advocate for diverse and representative data sets. This means a systematic review, auditing, and updating of the large-scale data sets already used by major AI systems. Gender, religious, and cultural diversity must be treated as fundamental ethical criteria in data governance, directly addressing the structural gender, religious, and cultural biases embedded in existing AI models. This dimension resonates concretely with the Digital Oath, an initiative by Net1, the communication brand of the NGO New Humanity, with Sophia University, which propose a public ethical commitment for all actors in the digital ecosystem, from developers to content creators. Inspired by the Hippocratic Oath, it explicitly includes the commitment to be inclusive and fair in the creation and design of content. When adopted by data scientists and engineers, this commitment directly implies responsibility for the biases that systems reproduce. Applied to data sets, this means that representativeness and diversity must be integrated from the very beginning of the system design, rather than introduced as a corrective measure after deployment. Second recommendation, promote digital literacy and technological education, especially by empowering women as educators and mediators. Religious communities play a unique role in this field due to their global reach, their presence in rural and marginalized contexts, their already established relationships of trust with people, and the existence of their own educational structures. At a time when misinformation, fake news, and the manipulative use of AI particularly threaten vulnerable groups, this proximity of religious communities hold a relevant value. This recommendation finds concrete expressions in the project's Seniors app, The World at Your Fingertips, an initiative led by a research also from Net1. Developed in Medellin, Colombia, precisely in the Gran Colombiano Polytechnic University, the project involved 120 adults over the age of 50 in digital literacy workshops led by university students. The results were significant. Participants developed skills to use mobile devices, access information, communicate with family members, and identify and question fake news. But the impact went beyond technical skills. Participants' feedback were like, I feel independent and more secure, or I will have the possibility to communicate with my family. Testimonials like this revealed that digital literacy is also an act of restoring dignity and social belonging. The project further illustrates a principle that interfaith dialogue can embrace and expand. Digital education is most effective when it takes place in contexts of trust, mediated by people who are close to the community, using accessible language and paying attention to real needs. This is precisely the type of environment that religious structures are able to provide. Within this context, there is a great opportunity for the development of female leadership as digital educators and mediators. In many religious communities around the world, women already play this structuring role. Empowering religious women in digital literacy and in an ethical understanding of AI creates a powerful multiplier effect. Women educating other women about technology, building a trust and belonging in a field that remains predominantly male. This perspective is reflected in Human for Ethical AI initiative, a platform promoted by UNESCO that works to ensure the equal participation of women in AI governance and development, based on the principle that truly ethical systems require women's voices not only as users, but as designers, educators, and decision makers. The third and last recommendation is to preserve spaces of human trust that technology cannot replace. This connects to the question in the beginning of my presentation. There is a fundamental distinction that must not be overlooked: the difference between reliability and trust. We rely on a vending machine, on an elevator, on AI, and we expect them to function correctly. But trust, in its fullest sense, it's something else entirely. Trust requires reciprocity. It is a bilateral act rooted in our evolutionary history as social beings. Two or more individuals who believe in each other's loyalty, who can unite their strengths precisely because each one knows the other is capable of the same commitment in return. Because true trust demands this mutuality, what we build with AI systems, however sophisticated, remains structurally different from what we build with one another. It is precisely here that religious communities offer something irreplaceable, not as an alternative to technology, but as a necessary counterweight to its limits. If trust, it's in its fullest sense, requires reciprocity, then the spaces where genuine reciprocity is still practiced and transmitted become structurally essential. Religious communities are among the few institutions that have always organized themselves around the cultivation of trust between persons, built through real presence, attentive listen, and shared vulnerability and reciprocity. Thank you.